there always have been renouncers. People, men and women, who left the householder stage, who really abandoned the conventional life and they wander around in the mountains and in the forests. Those who dropped out and acted or lived a life of ecstasy at the margins of society, as many sadhus or yogis do now.
My name is Swami Vidyanand Swarup Brahmachari. I've been a yogi for 35 years. My whole life is devoted to seeking oneness with God.
The difference between a yogi and an ordinary person is that the yogi takes full responsibility for the wholeness of the human being, including the spiritual dimension.
Yoga is very popular today. What is its true purpose? It is a sacred science, a path to know the inner self. Yoga is so much more than just postures. They are only one part of yoga. Today, there are 15 million yogis in India. To us, yoga is our whole life. Yoga encompasses many ways to reach oneness with the divine. Many Westerners practice just a sliver of this living tradition. What can Westerners learn from us, the yogis of India? We live just as the ancient mystics did 5,000 years ago. Yoga was passed down by our forefathers through scriptures, songs and fables. Yoga means to join, yoke, to link with the divine. We leave the world to do this. We give up everything.
My whole work over the past 30 years has been talking about the missing link in Western yoga. And what was eliminated was the core of the yogic tradition in order to make yoga palatable to Western audiences. And that core is a spiritual core. It's really the very essence of yoga in terms of our path to inner freedom, inner peace, happiness.
By leaving society, the yogi surrenders totally to God. He is protected and sheltered. If a yogi did not keep moving, then he would become attached to his surroundings. Attachment brings bad habits. Desire, repulsion, lust, greed. The river keeps clean by flowing. So the yogi must keep flowing as well.
Just like his bird. And he is traveling everywhere. And this is yogi life.
In India, it's acceptable to drop out, to renounce the world and devote your life completely to this inner quest. They allowed for that. The yogic teachings are simple. First, that we can develop ourselves more than we are right now. There's a greater potential than we even suspect. We have a spiritual dimension to our nature that is always there, but hidden away. The second is we need to let go of certain things that don't have anything to do with that nature. And that's the difficult part, because we are used to acquiring things, not shedding them. You know, how difficult it is to clean house and give away things. So how much more to let go of our preconceptions, our notions about who we are and what should be done, but they are fundamental to yoga. We need to let go of pretty much everything that makes us a conventional human being. So the key word is renunciation.
When I became a yogi, I took an initiation proclaiming myself dead. I performed my own funeral rites. I am no one. I am nothing. This was the death of my personality, the me everyone knew. Mother, father, family, and business, all were sacrificed into the fire. All ties were severed. A begging bowl and scrap of cloth are my only worldly possessions. With a new name, I began life as a yogi. My only goal now is to merge with God. The process of controlling the mind's activities is called yoga. And the person who can control the mind is called a yogi.
In the yogic traditions, the goal is to discover our true being. We call it the ultimate reality, the transcendental self, the Atman. Some people call it the divine. The yogis have specialized in methods and in approaches that allow us to discover that in a single lifetime. And these methods have the stamp of approval of yogis and sages for thousands of years. So we can put a little faith in them.
In the West today, only one branch or limb of yoga is popular, Hatha Yoga. But we yogis follow many. Bhakti, the path of devotion. Gyan, inquiry through the mind. Dhyan, meditation. And Karma Yoga, selfless service for others. And they are all done with a pure heart while living a virtuous life. Asana, postures, is one of the limbs of yoga. Asana is not yoga itself. Yoga is complete with all 8 limbs. Even though the world has become modern, there are still many yogis in mountains, in caves, in jungles, near rivers, in seclusion, totally devoted to God and praying happily. On foot and by bus, I go on pilgrimage to all the sacred places. There are 2 reasons for pilgrimage. From the material point of view, traveling from one place to another makes one intelligent. And from the spiritual point of view, pilgrimage allows one to accumulate good karma. There are many gains, such as peace for the soul. The reason why yogis move about is because we give spiritual advice. We cleanse the inner spirit of the people with knowledge, so that not only the person receiving the knowledge is benefited, but even the one giving it. I follow a route that we yogis have traveled for thousands of years. I'm going to Kathmandu, to Pashupati Nath temple on the holy Bhagmati, a tributary of the Ganges. This is the holiest place to be cremated in Nepal. From here, souls go on to a higher rebirth.
We live on the surface as conventional people. We don't want to think too deeply about life and death. These are the constant companions of a yogi or yogini. They are always pondering the fact that we are finite and that there is a lot of suffering in our life.
I'm going to visit a yogi who lives at the cremation ghat, which helps him realize the impermanence of worldly life.
My name is Balak Das Baba.
My name is Balak Das Baba, Ram's disciple, Shiva's apprentice. It's been 15 years, 10 plus 5. 15 have passed since I adopted this form. My guru is still there in my village, Sarlahi. He gave me the Ram mantra. Roam around, eat, drink, make merry. He asks that we sing in praise of God. Take care of your mother, father. This is the path to truth.
This Padmasana.
Yes, I live just like them. Like the yogis of old, living in the forest, meditating for 12 years, then meeting God. Like that, under God's protection, we roam around, sing holy songs in the hope we meet God. If we concentrate on our mind for 20 minutes, then God lets us know. He doesn't come just like that. Everyone doesn't just meet God. You have to find Him within. We are in the service of God. What else? There's nothing else. God is inside this temple. No? If God is in your heart, then the whole world is yours. To pray to God, you must bathe. First, when I wake up, I do yoga postures. They make my body healthy. I only do 5 to 7 postures daily. They're very difficult. Why should I lie about it?
This Hanuman. This same dead body, dead asana.
Then go clean my teeth.
इसका बाद में अब स्नान करना पड़ता है
I bathe in the river.
स्नान करके आया सीताराम सीताराम
After that, I chant Sitaram, Sitaram.
भगवान को पूजा
I make my prayers to God.
भगवान को भजन किया
I apply tika and sandalwood.
करके तब टीका
First we put it on God, then ourselves, or it just wouldn't be right.
ये नेत्र है ना
These eyes are made to see the entire world.
सारा संसार हाँ तो ये जहाँ जहाँ कहेगा चल
Where they tell me to go, I must go.
भगवान को
To offer prayers to God, I must go.
सब चढ़ाओ भेटी चढ़ाओ भगवान को दर्शन करो चले आओ
We yogis do postures to prepare our bodies for meditation and higher consciousness. Yoga's benefits go far beyond health and stress relief. We do japa yoga, repetition of God's name, and mantras to purify ourselves. I'm heading down to India, to the banks of the holy Ganges. All we do in our daily life is sacred. All our actions are worship. Cooking, bathing, everything is our path. Look, my Lord is everywhere. We yogis of India embody a 5,000-year-old tradition. We are the bearers of an unbroken lineage. Yoga, passed on by our gurus. We roam the subcontinent in search of enlightenment. "3,000 years before Christ, the ancient sages, rishis, contemplated the most haunting questions of life and death, and man's purpose on earth. These deep thinkers were the first to come up with the concept of the soul. These mystics dwelled in solitude in Himalayan caves, wore ashes and unkempt hair, and took vows of poverty. So ancient are yoga's origins, they are shrouded in the mists of time. In 300 BC, the Greeks encountered yogis and called us gymnosophists, naked philosophers.
Yogis even came to Athens when Socrates was alive. And there is the story of a certain Kalanos who was essentially a yogi. And the Athenians were very impressed with him because when he was old and was getting frail, he volunteered to step on his own funeral pyre, and he died with a smile in the flames. And that impressed them so much that we have a record of that event.
At one point in his journey, Buddha became a yogi who practiced severe austerities. Alexander the Great met yogis in 326 BC when he invaded North India. He was so fascinated by their powers and wisdom, he brought one with him to Persia as his personal guru. Even Jesus, like the yogis, undertook great fasts, as he did in the desert, for 40 days and nights. Like Jesus, Buddha, and all yogis, I too keep wandering. It is noon at the Bhutnath temple. Aarti is going on. Bells and drums call out to God. Offering flame to the four directions is as old as life itself. This light is offered to purify our souls.
और अपना जीवन सफल करने के लिए हम गुरु की शरण ली।
To find peace, I took shelter in my Guru, and ever since I'm very happy.
किसी भी बात की
I'm not worried about anything.
In terms of the guru disciple, yoga to me is a tradition that in the olden days would have been called sacred. It's an esoteric tradition. You have to receive the teachings from a qualified teacher. Again, very likely by word of mouth. So you had to be truly qualified, truly worthy for a teacher, a master teacher to take you on.
और इस नाथ संप्रदाय की जो दीक्षा का जो साधन है कोई भी बाजार में नहीं मिल रहा है।
गुरु की सेवा करने के बाद कभी गुरु अपनी ज्ञान की दृष्टि डाल दे तो ये योग सफल हो जाता है।
गुरु मतलब जो है अंधकार से निकाल के प्रकाश की तरफ ले जाता है।
नहीं, हम तो जो गंगा बहता है वैसी गंगा बहता साधु है।
We yogis have only a few possessions. Here is my commander, water pot. One can use this for everything. Drinking water, bathing, carrying water, cooking meals. It does all jobs and helps others too. If someone on the road is thirsty, it quenches his thirst. The water pot is for sharing, not for selfishness. It helps the one who carries it and everyone he meets. I travel to places on the holy Ganges, which flows down from the Himalayas, and I sleep along her banks. Here in Haridwar and Rishikesh, the holy Ganges meets the plains of India. Temples, ashrams and yogis are everywhere. Here at Shankar Ashram, they sing devotional songs every night.
My name is Swami Prem Swarupyati. Today, this thing called yoga has become popular. People only do a little bit, just enough to keep the body healthy, to remove tensions from the mind. I don't think Westerners should just do a little bit, they need to go further. That is when they will be transformed into something even better.
The rishis created yoga to become one with God and reach samadhi, ultimate bliss. To do this, they practice Jnana Yoga, meditation.
So we do prayers to make the mind peaceful. After praying, we meditate and close our eyes. Finally, when our minds are at peace, we meditate on a holy verse. Then by great concentration, all thoughts will eventually cease. We call this samadhi. After samadhi, there is no conscious thought, no happiness or sadness, no sensory experience, no tumult of any kind. And in this peaceful state, you will remain untouched by the chaos of the world.
We are essentially the same humanity that we were 5,000 years ago. So whatever laws were discovered by the yogis and sages in those days, they're still valid, they still apply.
When one becomes a yogi, their goal is to know God, by chanting God's name and performing devotion and yoga. One must practice meditation. One must have nothing to do with the illusions of the world. Although still in the world, a yogi's mind stays fixed on God, and his body is filled with bliss.
There are millions of us seeking liberation. 10 branches of yogis, akhadas, were formed thousands of years ago.
You must have seen holy men. They are naked. They just don't stay in the cities. People live there. Society is there, so they go in the forest. They went to the Himalayas. If they stayed in society, just look around. There's so much unrest, noise, so many people bother you. And the Himalayas are not a place that just anyone can go. You need warm clothes, and you can't get food to eat there. These people went in the jungle and lived on fruit. They braved the cold in the wilderness. There are lots of them, hundreds of thousands of them. They have built small huts. Many yogis do not wear clothes, so they smear their bodies with ash to close the pores of their skin and hold in their body heat. The ash is a symbol of renunciation. No one approaches a person covered in ashes too quickly. People will ask, why is this person so dirty? What has he smeared all over his body? These ashes protect them and keep them warm. Being nude is a difficult practice high in the snowy Himalayas and deep in the steaming jungles of India. These garments are the symbols of renunciation. We have taken vows, and we are now renunciates. When we wear these clothes, the thought enters our mind that we, too, have become a Mahatma. And if I do something wrong, what will people think of me? And while wearing these garments, how can you do these kinds of wrongful deeds?
We yogis follow the gods Shiva or Ram. Millions emulate Shiva, the lord of yoga and yogis. Mount Kailash is Lord Shiva's abode. There, the Lord is in meditation for the welfare of the people. In the Hindu Trinity, with Brahma, the creator, and Vishnu, the preserver, Shiva is the destroyer. From him comes new life. He takes on the evils of the universe and is the great ascetic. I rub the ashes of my holy fire into my jata, which has supernatural powers. When I took sannyas, initiation, I shaved my head as a sign of renunciation. When my hair grew back, I never combed it or cut it, to discourage vanity. Our ancient forehead markings show our sect and the deity we follow.
अब यह चंदन तो शिव जी का जो गण है ये लगाएगा। रामा जो होगा, रामानुज संप्रदाय जो बनाया हुआ है, यह चंदन ऐसे लगाएगा।
Ram is the god of virtue, and Shiva is the lord of destruction.
सर्वशक्तिमान है,
Shiva is all-powerful.
उसी से सृष्टि है, सारे
The whole
संसार
world
उसी
comes
से
from him.
वो सब कुछ
Nothing happens without his doing.
His symbolic objects, the trident spear and the two-sided drum, are often carried by millions of yogis who follow him. Shiva was a lush in the legends. So to emulate him, some yogis smoke hashish and ganja to achieve higher states of consciousness. I don't smoke and I don't hang out with fake yogis.
Our temple is near the site where Parvati, Shiva's wife, flung herself on the fire when her father wouldn't let her marry Shiva. Shiva discriminates towards no one. He firmly believes that all people are equal, so his wedding procession was made up of weirdos and misfits. When Parvati's father saw them, he refused to let her marry Shiva, so she flung herself on the sacrificial fire. Distraught, Shiva grabbed her body from the flames, threw it over his shoulder, and flew around the world. All the places where pieces of Parvati's body landed are sacred. A lot of people tell me that this is the Kali Yuga, the Dark Age, and there are a lot of problems. I do not see any problems. All I see is joy. I have no worries of any kind.
Under God's protection, I keep wandering. This is the oldest Shiva temple in this part of the Himalayas.
Kolkata, Nagpur, India, पूरा India.
Yogis flock to Girnar from all over India for the Shivratri festival.
My name is very short. It's given by my guru, Sri Jagangiri Naga Baba. This is the original form of a guru. This is how a yogi should look. If I look like you, nobody would say I'm a yogi. This is the true form, the shape of Shiva. Naga Babas have existed for thousands of years and are the fiercest yogis. Shankaracharya, who organized us, thought our nudity would draw the public, who would stay to hear about God. Even high up in the snowy Himalayas, we are naked.
Fire is sacred. Wherever we wander, we build a fireplace, dhuni, and drive our trident into the ground. Here we cook our food and stay warm.
ये जो है नागा सन्यासी जो है ना, उनका मुख्य देवता यही है। कोई इन्हीं की पूजा, इन्हीं की अर्चना करे।
सब उत्पत्ति भी इससे ही है, धुना से।
Here by my holy fire, I pray and meditate and chant the mantra Om Namah Shivaya, Japa Yoga.
ये करने से हमें ये है कि किसी को दुख तकलीफ है, कुछ भी है, हम भगवान के आगे फरियाद करेगा, हम भगवान के नाम की उसको विभूति देगा, वो ठीक होगा। हमें इतना विश्वास है।
Many yogis also fulfill the role of a shaman, whereby they serve the community as healers, magicians, wise men, and so on.
A yogi is always close to God. That is why people touch his feet, so that they will be blessed by God through him.
This is Lord Shiva's day. Just like you have your prayers, this is a prayer for Lord Shiva. We all stay absolutely in isolation in the jungle and don't even come out in public. Only in 3 years do we come out to a festival. Since a long time, the saints come here and give services to the pilgrims. You may give me money. I cannot eat alone from your money. The money will be spent for all the saints, and we will eat together. And by doing that, you will also be blessed.
We are vegetarian, since the mother cow is sacred. We deeply respect all forms of life.
शांति के लिए, शरीर को ठंडा रखने के लिए। जब हमें काम वासना नहीं जागेगी, तो हम कुछ भी नहीं है, सीधा भगवान के साथ लगन रहेगी हमारी।
There are yogis who don't eat food for many years.
बचपन से दूध पी रहे हैं, रोटी नहीं खाते।
There are yogis who live only on water. There are other yogis who never eat and live only on air.
The summit is the birthplace of the yogi's patron deity, Dattatreya. Countless hermits stay in the surrounding caves and jungles in seclusion. Yoga is union of our souls with God, and there are many ways to do this. Yet when your heart is truly pure, everything becomes yoga. It's inspiring to see the devotion of villagers carrying their god to the local temple. Yogis show their devotion in different ways. All along the road here, you'll meet yogis like this one. He recites scripture all his waking hours. Self-realization through the mind is Gyan Yoga.
The yogi is proactive. So every moment of the day, the yogi reminds himself of what is really going on and what is necessary to do, how to live harmoniously, how to live in peace. And then they use their wisdom teachings to remind themselves of the greatness of the being that we are in essence. The human being is like a gown that we wear for a while. But who are we in reality? And the yogi always tries to remember and be mindful that we are primarily spirit clothed in matter.
Even though yogis do not possess material objects, they're blessed with spiritual riches, and they're dependent and have taken shelter in the Lord. He provides them with eternal happiness and peace till the end of their lives. Varanasi is the city of light. Being cremated here ensures a higher rebirth.
The cremation ground is a symbol for letting go of everything, as we have to when our time comes to check out. The big lesson of life, which is we're really not taking anything with us, and that instead of accumulating more and more material goods, to accumulate instead more and more inner virtue in the form of wisdom, compassion, kindness, all these wonderful virtues that yogis realize in the process of liberating themselves.
The city of Varanasi is situated on the tip of Shiva's trident. It is Lord Shiva's residence.
My guru's name is Sri Digambar Suraj Giri Maharaj. He gave me the name Baba Mangal Giri. I stay in the mountains in Assam. When it becomes cold, I come down to Benares or some holy place, some Shiva place. I like my life to be simple.
Not have, no problem.
It's not good to have very high standards of living. It's more important for me to have my peace of mind than 2 pieces of bread.
Holy man life, only God fighting.
I'm a holy man. I fight for God, not for people.
Holy man life depends on the God.
A holy man's life depends on God. When a yogi makes meditation, the whole world is happy too.
People like looking only outside, no?
The mistake people make is to look only outside.
Inside looking start.
Looking within can help put an end to all the troubles.
Outside looking, not possible. Why God is only one?
There is only one God. Everyone just calls him by different names. So it's possible that within everyone lives God, which we call the soul.
My journey was pleasant, successful, and auspicious. I got peace of all kinds. When one leaves everything to serve the Lord, he leaves his fate entirely to God. Wherever he goes, whatever he does, he is protected. I depend on him completely.
एक और इसी केस के अंदर 25-30 साल से हम यहाँ पे भजन कर रहे हैं, सदा आकाश वृथी में रहते हैं। इससे ज़्यादा हम क्या कह सकते, कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं कह सकते।
I am heading back up to the Himalayas. All of you are connected to us yogis. We're on the same path. The goal of yoga is inner union, inner peace. Whichever branch you follow, whether devotion, service, mental inquiry, or meditation, it is a vehicle to realize the divine within.
We have received all the yogic teachings that are significant, that could help us out in a major way in this part of the world, but we have chosen to adopt the ones that are for the body rather than the spirit. We don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go to a cave or into the forest. You can practice as a family member, as a parent, a school teacher or whatever, and then apply the yogic wisdom in all these circumstances. So this is what Westerners could learn from the yogis of India. You know? So we all end up anyway as yogis and yoginis. We take nothing with us. Why not start now?